To be Wiccan is a way of life. And it's time we learned how. Join the Scarlet Witch on a journey into magic and learn the true meaning of witchcraft as we enter the Witch's Closet with Scarlet Witch.
Hello all, good evening. Thank you for joining me. Damon will be joining us in a few minutes. But yeah, so I just thought I'd greet everybody while we wait for him. Hi Kate, how are you, my lovely? Hi Donna, Wandering Willow. Hello my lovely, how are you? Oh dear. Dave, evening Scarlett and everybody. Evening all. I hope the week's been kind to you. We had a little taster of spring earlier on in the week and that was lovely, and today's been absolutely miserable. I don't know what's happened, but apparently for this bank holiday weekend it's supposed to be lovely weather, so that's good. Damon's back.
You all right?
Hello.
Sorry, I was just sorting something out for work. My bad.
That's all right. That's all right, no worries. Just saying hello to everybody.
Hello everybody.
Kate says, what's the weather like there? Well, I'm from the Midlands and it is been raining all day, miserable, dull. It's horrible. But Monday we had lovely weather. It was sunshine all day out in my t-shirt.
Like during the night time, that was really cold.
It has. I've had to put a hoodie on because I'm chilly this evening.
Well, I'm hard, so I don't wear hoodies.
Made of tough stuff. Well, I'm not. Right. Okay, so I mean, I was born in Egypt, so you know I'm used to the warm heat. So this is never mind the fact I've lived here for 33 years of my life, you know. Oh, okay. So right, this evening we are going to be talking about all things altars. I do have a little ritual for us to do as well, which will be fun. And we are just about to go into the pink full moon in Libra, which starts tonight and then transitions between tonight and tomorrow night. So this ritual, if anybody watching hasn't got the stuff to do along with us this evening, that's fine. You don't need many ingredients. It's just a few items that you'll need, and you can do it all the way up until midnight tomorrow night if you need to. And this is perfect for this full moon that's currently in Libra. What's your star sign, Damon?
My star sign?
Yeah.
I'm a proud Leo.
You're a Leo. I know there's a certain Leo in the comments. My sister's also a Leo. Yeah. Donna Wandering Willow's a Leo. I know quite a few Leos. I get on well with Leos.
What's the pink moon? Because I have no idea.
The pink moon. So the pink moon is all to do with rebirth and new beginnings, and it's not actually pink. When you look at the moon, it's not going to be pink. When we have a full moon, it just purely means that the sun is in direct opposition against the moon, which is how we get the full moon. And the names we get for the pink moon and all the other types of moons, it's to do with the energy that emits from that moon. So the pink moon. The fun thing I learned the other day was apparently if you go back, like it's quite good if the Facebook memories ties in quite nicely with this. So between today and tomorrow, if you look at your Facebook memories and you see where you were exactly at this point last year, you can see the difference of what that pink moon has done for us in those 12 months. So if you see a Facebook memory from this day last year and it maybe wasn't in a good frame of mind, or it was very chaotic energy, and you check the Facebook memories the day after, you generally see a difference, apparently. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I saw a few days ago, which was quite interesting. So I'm going to be looking out for that tonight to see what it was 12 months ago.
Yeah, actually, I might think it.
Yeah, I know what it was 3 years ago when we was all obsessive watching Tiger King and baking bread and fighting over toilet paper. That was an exciting part of our lives, wasn't it? That'll go down in history.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm thankful. Lockdown made me start doing podcasting. So
See, good things come out of it. See, there's always something good that's come out of a negative. Let's say hi to a few people. So we've got Jeanette. Hi, Jeanette. Nice to see you. Emma. Hello, Emma.
I am.
Charles from Texas. Hi, Charles.
Howdy, my partner.
The weather's got to be nicer over there than what it is here.
My uncle lives in Nashville and it's like 98 degrees or something, he was saying.
Really? We get excited over 12 degrees over here, especially in the Midlands. 12 degrees, we're out in shorts and T-shirts, you know, the barbecue one.
Beanies.
Oh, gosh. Kate says, I was hoping to channel hot pink Barbie vibes. Well, you can channel whatever you like, Kate, absolutely. You know, as long as it's realistic. When it comes to witchcraft, we have to be realistic. Like, you know, there's a common phrase that if you're single and you're trying to manifest Brad Pitt, the chances are you're not going to get Brad Pitt, you know, unless you work alongside Brad Pitt. That's not going to happen. So you do have to be realistic in magic, you know.
Yeah.
Right. So, as I was saying, we're going to start with the ritual first of all, get everyone in a good frame of mind. So from tonight until tomorrow, we have the pink full moon in Libra. So any Librans out there, it can be a bit of a chaotic energy for you, but it's also very good energy because it is all about the rebirth. A lot of relationships can come to an end, but it will be for good things. So it's not necessarily like love relationships. It could be friend relationships. If a person's been using you a lot and absorbing all your energy, that relationship generally comes to an end. So it's not always a negative. So Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules anything to do with beauty, art, love, and abundance. So it's a great full moon this time of year for bringing things into your life, but also for closing things from the winter period that we don't want to take forward with us into the spring term of the year. So it's a great full moon for balance. It's a lovely full moon to work with. And I'd also note as well, this would be a perfect ritual to do because Mercury is about to go into retrograde. Anybody knows about Mercury in retrograde? A lot of stuff goes down during Mercury in retrograde. Very chaotic.
I'm not very good at astrology. You know, they say, though, don't they? Say the millionaires study the stocks, billionaires study the stars, don't they?
That's it. I'm not a massive on astrology or anything. I know the basics about people's star signs. And when it comes to moons and stuff like that and how to work with them, being a witch, I know that. But when it comes to all somebody's got their second housing and they're in Aquarius, I don't know any of that malarkey. So I like the basics.
It's very, very confusing, all the star signs and stuff like that. I know that 2 years ago we moved into the fifth solar trimester of Aquarius, which was supposed to be the awakening of the human race. So we become more acceptance for things that we didn't accept before. So that could be why Wiccan and Norse and all these sort of secondary religions that weren't very popular are sort of coming to the forefront now, really.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. I think I've seen a massive awakening. Again, like you say, the past few years even. I think people are sick of being dictated to and having this leadership, and they just want that freedom for their own spirit to feel free. So they're being drawn to all these more spiritual ways of life. You know. But anyway, we digress.
Right.
So the Libra full moon, as I said, it's about harmony and cleansing. So tomorrow, if you've been a bit stagnant, your room's a bit chaotic, it needs a good clear out, today and tomorrow is the perfect time to do that. So we go into this new moon with a fresh peace of mind, so to speak. So getting rid of any clutter, taking things to the charity shop that's no longer needed, or things that don't serve you, just get rid of them. My boy, my 12-year-old son, he's already showing signs of being a hoarder. So we're trying to train him into letting things go, you know. He loves Pokemon. He's obsessed with Pokemon cards. Absolutely obsessed. So
a lot of money. Some of them. I have a friend at
Yeah.
work who has just sold. This is no word of lie. He sold 22 Pokemon cards online, and he got over £1,000 for 22 cards.
Really?
Some of them are worth a lot of money.
He can keep them. That's fine. We don't mind him keeping them. It'll pay for my retirement fund when I'm OAP. Get the good quality care home. Absolutely. Yeah. No. It's. I mean, he likes anything retro. He's such an old head in a young body. So all the old original Action Mans. He's got a 1930s Action Man or something like that. He loves anything like that. So anyway, yeah, cleansing out to do today and tomorrow, if you can, will be fantastic. So the ritual can be done any time from now. If you haven't got all the ingredients now, you can do it all the way up until tomorrow midnight. That's fine.
Yeah.
So what you're going to need is a bowl. Any bowl will do. A big enough bowl that you can fit your hands in. So a bowl, a jug of water. If you have moon water from the previous full moon, that is absolutely fine to use. And it'd probably be a good way of sort of releasing the old moon, getting rid of that, and then making way for the new one. So a bowl of water or moon water, a towel or a tea towel, and a pink candle. If you don't have a pink candle, remember in witchcraft, a white candle can represent any other colour candle. So if you don't have a pink one, you can use a white one. That's absolutely fine.
No candles.
Hey, say again.
No black candles.
Yeah. No, but black candles are all right. They're good for protection. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend using a black candle on a pink full moon.
No, only because at the moment I'm in a bit of a deep dive at the moment into black candle magic and all the things to do with Helena Blavatsky. So
okay.
So
you're delving deep.
Yeah, I'm vowed never to light a black candle again. So only because of the stuff that I've read, but that's me being a donut. So
that's fine. You do you. That's absolutely fine. So we get into the ritual. So once you've got all your ingredients, if you want to cast your circle, call in your corners, that's absolutely fine. However you work your craft with you, you can do that. So you'd find a comfortable position. Either close your eyes or relax your gaze. Either is absolutely fine. And as you do that, as you close your eyes and relax your gaze or get into that deep, calm state, you need to imagine a pink circle around you. Any protective light around you is absolutely fine. Some people choose to actually use salt in a physical sense around them in a circle. Some people use crystals to represent the pentagram points around them. Either way is fine. Just imagine yourself in a circle and you'll be cool. While you're in the relaxed state, so once you've done all that and you've got yourself into your calm state of mind, taking a few minutes. Oh, sorry, the cat just jumped up at the table. I thought we were going to send you flying. Let's just move him out the way. This out the way, Pickle. Come here. Right. This is Salem. He's clearly not wanting to be on camera today.
I knew you would have a black cat. It's just so
funny enough, all of my animals are black, and it was never intended to be that way. I have 2 black dogs and a black cat.
Yeah, it's just I find that I know we're digressing again, but I find like sometimes you're just drawn to these things. I've got an obsession with like collecting like old weaponry. Like I've got old Viking knife axes and
wow.
I was even like Norse, so I was collecting them, and it's something that I've always been drawn to. So
yeah, it is funny how you are drawn to things without even realizing until you look back and you think, why was I drawn to that particular era or that style of clothing at the time? Or it is fascinating. But yeah. So you might see a tail every now and then. That's the cat. Okay. So while you're in your relaxed state and you're sat in your circle, whether it's an imaginative bubble circle or a figurative salt circle or crystal circle, whichever is fine, get yourself into a calm state of mind, and you're going to imagine releasing all of the winter energy that we have carried with us up until this point. We thank the space for holding the space for us, the safe space that we're in while we're doing that. And you spend some time just reflecting and focusing on the things that you want to release, first of all. So whether it's negative thoughts, jealousy, irrational behavior, anything that you feel is negative to yourself that you want to release. That's the time that you'd sit and think about and really imagine those things leaving your essence, leaving your spirit, leaving your body. Things that may be oppressing you, that no longer serve you. And then once you've done that, take 5 or 10 minutes just to think of all those things that you want to release. You get your bowl and just pull my sleeves up. Now, Salem, I have got water, so please do not attack me in any sense at all. I'm not going to bathe you, cat. Right. Okay. So you get your jug of water and you get your one hand first of all. Doesn't matter which hand is first. And you're going to pour half of the water over your hand. Now I've used quite warm water. And as you do that, you imagine all that negativity, hold my hand a bit more, pouring off your fingertips and leaving your body. So completely cleansing yourself and gently releasing the things that no longer serve you. You see, as you do that, you imagine, and as you see the water filling up in the bowl, if you have a colour that you associate with negativity, you can imagine that water, as it's pouring off your hand, that water changing into that colour. So I know for a lot of people, they would see negative with black. So you can imagine the water filling up with this being black water to release all that negativity from the hand.
Oh.
And it's anything that you don't want to bring with you into the next moon cycle, that's what you want to get rid of. Then you gently pour the water over the other hand. And with the same intention, so releasing any cleansing, anything negative that you brought in from the winter period is not to come with us into the spring period. And you entirely empty that jug. Let's put that over there. Once you've done that part, grab your towel or your tea towel and just dry your hands. Let's pop that over there for a second. And then you get your candle. You're going to light your candle. I'm just going to grab a candle holder on the altar. Second. This is when they're all everywhere else around the house. Where's me? Where they all come? Give me 2 seconds. I've just got to go with me 1 second.
That's all right. That's all right. Need a Blue Peter moment where you go.
Right, there we go. Did you keep them entertained?
Yeah.
So I just had to go and get me candle holder. That was left in the lounge from a previous ritual.
The ritual you're doing is a lot like us. It's amazing. I was going to say, it's crazy how a lot of the pagan beliefs all sort of tie in with each other. Because in a week's time, we as Vikings, we do something called Borgelmir, which is where we welcome in like the spring, basically what you're doing. But we do it as a washing of the body, and then you transfer all your energy into the water that's washing away. So you get rid of the winter energy, you bring in the spring energy. But we do it. We sort of give that offering to Freya, and then she brings all the good energies back in. It's as they used to do before the harvest and stuff like that. So it's wicked how all the sort of pagan beliefs sort of like they all follow the same sort of lines.
They do. It's almost like, because although they have their own paths, they all run in line with each other. They just have their own way of doing things. I mean, now some people you could choose to do it in the shower or in the bath and have a full body cleanse completely. Or some people go to the sea, and they will go in the sea and imagine the sea taking away their water, they're taking away their negativity and cleanse themselves that way. But this is just a simple way on camera that's easy to show without me sat here being sky clad in a bath. That's naked, in case anybody doesn't know what sky clad means in which terms. Nobody needs to see that. You definitely need to sign a waiver for that one. Goodness me. Right.
No, with that, with me anyway. I don't think I'll be able to get my whole stuff on camera.
Right. So once you've lit your candle, you're going to put your hands around the flame, not so close that it burns your skin, but close enough that your cold hands from the water are being heated by the flame. And while you hold your hands around the flame, you imagine in that ball of light inside your hands is filling with all the things that you want to bring into your life. So peace, obviously, because it's in Libra and Venus rules Libra, it's all to do with peace, harmony, balance, love, abundance, prosperity, anything that you can think of. And you imagine that ball of light, encased, I don't know if you can see my hands, encased inside that light in my hands and the heat, and it's warming my hands up to sort of activate the energy. Once your hands feel warm enough, with all that positivity, abundance, and everything circling inside my hands, you then put it to your eyes, and you should feel the heat from the hands going into the skin and your eyes. And then once you've done that for a few minutes and manifested on that, you put one over your heart and one over your stomach. And you feel that if you need to go back to reheat your hands, that's fine. But one over the heart, one over the stomach, and you imagine that whole essence, your whole spirit, your whole life force absorbing all that heat, that warmth, that love, that energy, that prosperity. So we've taken something away, but we have to fill that void back in. And to do that, we're filling it with positive vibes and intentions. And yes, so we're going to capture the spring fire, energy of renewal and revigoration. So once you've done that, you can leave the candle to burn down completely on your altar. The water that's in the jug, in the bowl, you put straight back out to the earth to let that absorb and dilute any negative that's into the water. And that is basically a very, very basic little ritual that you can do for this pink full moon. So yes, get rid of your water, put it to the earth and leave that to go. The other thing to do tonight, which will be perfect, is moon water. So moon water, I still have moon water from the last full moon in my quirky little jar. My husband found this jar, and I love this jar because it's naturally bent this way. It was found, he works in construction, my husband. And I don't know if you can see, it's all smooth at the top, but it looks like it's all cracked. And he found this while he was digging up, I think it was a quarry of some sort, and it's completely changed its shape. It's all, but yeah, that's filled with moon water. So what I will do is I will use this in my own personal ritual this evening. Yeah. Fill it back up with normal tap water or spring water or any water that you can get your hands on. Leave it outside or in my conservatory under the full moon, and then you've got fresh moon water ready for the next season. Cool. So that's how you make moon water. Moon water is really easy to use. You can drink it. People bathe in it. Add some water to the bath water. Add it for spells, rituals, cleansing. When I'm doing a smoke cleanse on somebody, I will splash moon water onto them after to fill the void. Let's have a look. So let's make sure we haven't missed a few comments. We have a problem with mugs in our family. We've had about 5 boxes when we moved. You hoard mugs.
Oh, don't worry, in Essex we have a problem with mugs, but not the ones you drink out of. So
let's have a look. Emma sat here with a big bowl of popcorn, bottle of water, white candles in my drawer, and a towel on my head. I need to eat all the popcorn now. Oh, I do love popcorn. Sounds like a fun evening.
Yeah.
I do this all year round in Bath when I need to clear negative things. All year round in. Do you mean you do it all year round in the bath, or are you from Bath, Jeanette?
I'm trying to work out how you spend all year in a bath without.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe if she lives in Bath. I don't know. But yeah, I think Say again.
She's from up north, so they don't use the word the. So it's like I do it all year round in Bath.
In Bath, in Bath. Yeah, whenever I get in the bath, I do that. I light some candles. I imagine any negative that I've had during that week, whether it's work stresses, life stresses, money stresses, and I imagine all that seeping out of every single pore in my body. And when I pull that plug, all that negativity goes down the plug hole, and I imagine that going down. Because with magic, intention is key. Go in the bath and clear energy, sorry. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that, Jeanette. Thank you.
I was reading the other day, because I've been doing this deep dive into like black candle magic, and I've been reading Young's book again. And there's a lot of references to Wicca, and a lot of the old Wiccans used to infuse their moon water with mercury or silver. Yeah,
that was probably along the lines to do with protection. Yeah. If you think of, was it the vampires or something? There was something about something could banish them or keep them at bay. So I think it is along the lines to do with protection.
You know, the silver. In garlic against vampires was actually because Vlad the Impaler was actually had an allergy to garlic.
No way. Yeah. Oh, I love garlic. Imagine I've been allergic to it.
Smell gets a bit much after a while, but I do like garlic.
Yeah, it's so good for you.
Bad garlic, and that's why they associate garlic with vampires.
Because he was allergic.
Yeah.
There you go. You learn something new in the other dimension, don't you? Every day. The other thing we need to say is anything when you do spell work or candle work, we do not blow candles out. We snuff or we waft candles out. Or you can pick your fingers and do that if you're brave enough. But we don't blow them, because it's believed that if you blow the candles out, you're blowing away all your intentions. So we waft or we snuff. That's the way. So we move briskly on to altars. Yep. So why we have altars, what we put on altars, how to create your own altars, all that jazz. So an altar basically is a sacred place or a sacred space, a spiritual focal point and a reflection of your magical self. Okay. One other thing I do need to say, few people have said to me in the past, when I spell magic, I spell it with a K, so it's M-A-G-I-C-K. A lot of people think, oh, you spelt it wrong. Like, no, I do know how to spell magic. It is purely to differentiate between the two. Now, in the Oxford Dictionary, it states, I did write that down actually, 1 second. Let me, sorry, I'm in my notes. It says in the Oxford Dictionary, the power of apparently influencing events by using mysterious or supernatural forces. However, it then goes on to say, as an example, mysterious tricks such as making things disappear and reappear performed as entertainment. So to differentiate between the two, because a lot of witches don't like to be seen as entertainers. We're not there for means of entertainment. We don't pull rabbits out of hats or any other orifice. So to differentiate the two, we stuck a K at the end. And that's how we know the difference between magic that we do and then the magic that actors use. Magicians use, that's the word, not an actor.
Yeah.
Magicians.
Just also to throw it out there, another reason we differentiate is back in the day when John Dee was doing his Enochian stuff to do with angels.
Yes.
He's the original one to put the K on the end of the magic, because he, like you said, he wasn't doing it for entertainment. He was doing it as true magic, true power, because he was summoning the angelic power, the Enochian powers as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's just to make it a bit more respectful, I think, as well, when you're working alongside the craft.
You can tell between a true Wicca and somebody who just follows this fad that's coming in place as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we are seeing a rise. Every time there seems to be a supernatural film or a magic film or a craft film, there seems to be a new phase of this people who like it just for the aesthetic. And it's not an aesthetic, it's our life, it's our life, it's what we do. So anyway, so an altar is a physical object or a set of objects placed in a purposeful way and in a purposeful place. That have spiritual significance to us, that represent an element, an archetype, a deity, a god, a goddess. And it doesn't matter how big or small the altar is, it's depending on, it's still just as sacred, whether it's a tiny altar or a massive altar. It's still just as sacred to the person who's using it or creates it. But to be clear, the objects on the altar are not worshipped in any way. Every single item on our altar is not seen as an idol. We don't worship them. They are purely there to represent an element, represent a god or a goddess, to help our communication. We do not worship idols or anything like that in the sense of form. We work alongside them. They help us use our abilities, strengthen our abilities, but we don't worship them in the sense of the Abrahamic religions where you'd worship a god or, you know. So each item has its own representation of either elements, spirits, feelings, or intentions. So what should be on an altar? Now, this is a point where the sky's the limit when it comes to the craft and altar work. I've seen some altars that cover dining room tables, some that are hidden under floorboards, some that you open a wardrobe and they're on a top shelf in there. If you live somewhere where you can't openly practice your craft, having it hidden away in a wardrobe or a closet or under the floorboards is absolutely fine. And then there's some people like myself who like to go above all out and have a great big whopping thing behind me in my dining room. Say again, sorry.
Loud and proud, that's where you got to be.
Loud and proud, that's me all over. So yes, we have mobile altars whereby you can, I've seen people in matchboxes and they have everything that you'd have on a standard altar, but in small form. So you can take it on holiday, you can take it and still practice wherever you are around the world. I have some, believe it or not, and I've got to say it's more the Americans that do this one. I have seen actually will glue them on their dashboard and they will have their dashboard in the car as an altar. That is true. I have seen it.
That's cool. That's cool. My mum's side of the family are Irish Gypsy, and they used to have a travel altar in a bag.
Yeah, that's it. It's great to have a travel altar, even if you have got a permanent altar, because even if you're out and about in nature or you're just doing a spring walk somewhere or walking the dogs and you see something that you really want to meditate on or you want to call something in, it's there ready just to go. And you don't have to have great big candles carrying around or anything like that. You can use birthday candles, really thin, small birthday candles. Any candle is fine. Anything that can represent earth, spirit, air, fire, water would work. So they can be as complex or as simple as you want them to. In the most basic form, an altar can be a single stone, a flickering candle, a feather, water. So you've got the elements there. So if you can't have a massive space or it is a bit of a closed practice for yourself, just those 4 items would be fine as an altar. And it's based more on the formal altars, so you want to include a nod to each of the 4 elements. So like I said, the stone for earth, the feather for air, water, obviously for water, and the fire being the candle. And you place them in certain parts of your altar, which I'll explain in a second. So when creating an altar, you may also want to include at least 1 extra sensory item as well. That could be flowers, incense, a bell for sound, aromatic spices, a living plant, a steaming cup of water, even dried fruits. So these elements obviously add an extra dimension, such as smell, sound, touch, and that helps ground yourself. So if you're somebody who during meditation struggles to see or to hear or whatever when it comes to meditation, having those with extra senses that you can pick up and smell and touch and ring helps you keep you on that level. So setting up your altar and its uses in spiritual practice are extremely varied and individualized. So I'll be focusing on how I do my altar. So a quick disclaimer, this is how I do it. Do not be offended, anybody. If you want to be offended, that's on you. That's nothing to do with me. That's a you problem, not a me problem. This is just how I do it. This is not the done way. This is you do you, I do me. That's it, okay? But the beauty with that, and what I love about the craft, is you can do that. You can do it how you want to do it and tailor it to you and your belief system. And the same with your altars. So a basic altar is created in 5 steps. First one, gather all your supplies. So if it will be on an existing surface, like a table or a dresser that you've already got, get a piece of cloth that will define that space as your altar. So I'll show you mine as close up in a bit, but you'll see what I mean. So it's a small cloth, or any cloth you can get hold of, to define your space. That's your altar space. Gather a cup of water, a stone, a candle, and a feather. Believe it or not, for very, very basic altars, those are the only items that you need, something that represents the elements, and that's it. I will go into detail of what witches generally have on there. Then we choose a location, step number 2. Should be in a spot that is convenient to you, yet out of the way enough that you don't mind it being there long term, if it's a permanent altar. If you're going to put it in your hallway, right in front of your door, because you feel that's where it needs to go, you need to be realistic that you are going to have to be able to move it. So setting it somewhere that it can stay there if need be is fine. Number 3, identify which direction is east. This is where the sun rises from in the morning. Generally, most altars will face where the sun rises in the morning, which is generally east. You don't have to do that at all. That's just generally what we do, because it's to do with them harbouring the energy and manifesting the energy and the way the sun and the clock works. Step 4, place your items on your altar. Once cleaned, obviously cleanse all your items, especially if you've bought them from the shops. People pick things up, put them back, they transfer their energies onto said items. You don't want those energies coming into your home. Always cleanse or consecrate each item before it goes onto your altar. Take a deep breath, bring into focus your intentions for creating this space, creating your altar. Place your small table or arrange your altar cloth in a place that you've chosen. So get that all set up ready. Place the feather on the east side and welcome spirits from the east. Obviously, that's the air representation. Place your candle on the south side of your altar, welcoming the spirits of the south, and that represents the fire. Place your cup of water on the west side, welcoming in the spirits from the west, and that will be obviously representing water. And place your stone on the northern side of your altar and welcoming the northern spirits, or spirits from the north, and that's your earth representation. Step number 5, your last step, is give thanks. You take a few deep breaths in, you appreciate your space, appreciate the beauty that you've created, recognise the wholeness that is in that little space that you've created. You've got all 4 elements, all the elements wrapped up in your little space that if you want to go sit and meditate on. Everything is there that you need at your disposal. Generally all natural as well. If you can find the items, it's much better than having to buy the items. If you buy them, that's fine, but finding them is generally, you feel a closer connection to the item if you found it or foraged it. Give thanks to spirits of each of the directions that obviously you've called in while creating your altar, and then invite them to leave if they so wish. That is an extremely simple altar setup, but the main thing is it has the representations of the elements and spirit. You don't have to, but a lot of witches will then grow their altars from that to include cauldrons. A lot of people, hold on, let me get mine. A lot of people don't realise the representation of a cauldron. The cauldron is a representation of the womb, or mother goddess. So, yes. So we have one of these. Some people have really massive ones. Mine is cast iron still. It's very heavy, but it's perfect for what I need, you know. So I don't need a massive one. Perfect.
To ask you, because I heard, because obviously a lot of my family are Wiccan. My mum has a pewter cauldron, where my auntie has a copper cauldron. Yeah. The difference in having like the different sort of makes of cauldron, does it make any difference at all?
No difference at all. No difference at all. Generally, when you get your cauldron, because obviously something like this you'd have to buy, you can't really go to your local woods and forage one of these. You'd be very lucky if you did. And if you find one in the local woods, do not touch it, don't pick it up, do not pass go, leave it where it is. It's there for a reason, okay? But generally, where you would get one of these is from a shop. So generally, you would still want to cleanse the item. So it doesn't matter what material it's made from. It's the intentions of what we're going to use it from going forward.
Okay.
But yeah, mine's cast iron, so it's quite a heavy one. The other thing we have, wands. Not like the Harry Potter style wands, although this probably did look like it featured in Harry Potter, but it's not. This is my wand, and it's used for casting circles, calling elements, and numerous purposes, really. I don't really take it out unless we're going to somewhere where we're going to be doing rituals outside. But yes, very handy. The wands. Aphames. I won't show you the aphame because obviously it is a knife and I don't want to get banned from Facebook. It isn't a knife that we go around hurting people or cutting people. We do not do any of that. It's for figurative cutting. So cutting of cords, figurative cutting of cords. So you imagine that cutting. We don't do any actual physical hurting or cutting that you might see in some of the movies.
Most of them are hunted as well, aren't they, when you buy them?
Yes, there's some beautiful ones out there. Don't get me wrong, I've seen some stunning ones. But yeah, they can be quite pricey, but it doesn't need to be. It can be as cheap. The craft can be as cheap or as expensive as you want to make it. The other thing we have is black and white candles. Black and white, some people have either side, represents the god and the goddess. We have salt on our altars, herbs, money bowls, book of shadows, chalices, sand or soil to represent the earth element. We have statues of gods and goddesses. Again, like I said, if anybody's joined later on, we do not worship them. They are purely there to symbolize their presence, their energy. Offerings to seasonal Sabbats. So obviously we're in Ostara at the minute. So you'd have anything on there that's representation of rebirth, really. So daffodils or anything, fruits that are currently in season, vegetables that are in season, plants that are in season. You would decorate your altar to the Sabbath.
Is one that they associate with cinnamon?
Cinnamon is used a lot because cinnamon is to bring in, although I use cinnamon on the 1st of every month regardless. So on the 1st of every single month, I will go to my front door and blow cinnamon through my front door because it brings in abundance for the month and protection as well. Cinnamon's a great one. Say again?
I said abundance is the best way to practice. If you practice things in abundance, because Wiccan believe in the law of three. So whatever you give out, you get back in threes. So if you practice abundance, then you'll get that back in the law of three.
Shells, moon water, like I said, my moon water was sat on there. Incense, feathers that you find. Don't go, if your neighbour's got chickens, don't go plucking the neighbour's chickens for your feathers. Don't come back on me for that, but you also get feathers. Don't go chasing the local birds for your feathers. Ones you find, ones that have been gifted to you, that's absolutely fine to have. Each item on a person's altar will have a specific meaning to that person as to why it is on their altar. We do not question why it is on their altar. It's there. I have been to some places, or I've seen some places online as well, and they have some rather obscure things that I shan't mention, 18 plus things on their altars. We don't question. We let them do them, quite literally. We don't touch someone else's altar without permission. That is the same with books of shadows as well. So unless you have had prior permission or invitation to touch the items on somebody's altar or to look through their book of shadows, we don't do that without permission. It's just respectful. We don't know what intentions that person has on their altar or why it is on their altar. So it's fine to look if it's out in public display, but don't touch unless you're invited or offered to touch the items. But you tailor it to suit you and your beliefs. And that's why, like I said, I love the craft and Wicca, because there's no set rules to the craft. You tailor it around your life. But yeah, let me.
Rumor. Sorry, I'll keep jumping in. But I heard a rumor that if a Wicca's going to show you their Book of Shadows, they have to present the Book of Shadows to you and open it for you, then to have the invitation for you to read it.
There is that. I mean, I just generally, if somebody asks to look at my Book of Shadows, I just launch it at their head and say, "Here, have a look through that." You know, but no, I'm joking. But yeah, I can show you a few pages of my Book of Shadows, and that's absolutely fine because I am openly showing you, and it's purely to give people inspiration if they're looking to start their own Book of Shadows. I think my next show is going to be about Books of Shadows, how you start one, how you consecrate one, and what you put in them. But let me quickly show you what's on my altar, just to give people an idea. And this is fine. You're not going to get cursed or anything like that because I'm openly showing you. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know how you turn the camera around on this actually.
You have to go to the more bit and you have to turn it around. See where it says more at the bottom with the 3 dots.
Oh yes.
And then you go.
And then what?
Settings and then camera, and then you have to flip it from front camera to back camera. There you go.
That's very zoomed in.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that tall enough to like that. Oh, there we go. That's better. Okay. So this is my altar setup. As I said, disclaimer, this is just how I do it. You don't have to do that.
That's a
so this so this is what I was on about by the altar cloth. So this just defines my altar space, albeit it has spread out into much bigger. So obviously we have the shells, candles. I do hoodoo as well. So there's hoodoo dolls in the back.
I was about to say there's voodoo dolls on there. That's quite cool.
Say again?
I was about to say you've got voodoo dolls on there. That's quite cool.
Yeah, no, these are hoodoo dolls, not to be confused with voodoo dolls. I'll explain that in a second. The black and white candles representing the gods and goddesses. Jewelry that I wear that I've made for protection sits on here. My hagstone, money bowl, my Book of Shadows, different herbs. Yeah, there's all the old bottles. There's bath, feathers, and then yeah, there's loads of the sand. There's all sorts. It's rather messy. There's even eggshells, I think, from the last bit of protection. Just launch out the window at the neighbour. That's that one. How do we go back to me?
You have to go to more and then turn it round. Oh, I think we might have lost you. Guys, let us know if you can still hear Scarlett, because I think I've lost her. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what we'll do. While we're waiting, we'll go through some comments. Let's just go through some comments. Big shouts out to Nick Moulay, first time watching. Welcome along. I was just quickly running through the comments while we had you off here. Good evening. How you doing, Von? Jeanette. Oh, we had a question a little while ago, actually. I wanted to ask you. Kate said, she's asked, what's the deal with taxidermy? Is it ever used in witchcraft that could be powerful? I'm so confused about why hunters stuff animals as trophies.
Funny enough, we had a conversation, Donna, who's in the chat, Wandering Willow, we had a conversation about taxidermy the other day in the car.
Yeah.
I absolutely love taxidermy. However, I do not like taxidermy where the animal has been killed to be taxidermed. Yeah. I only like, so I have a massive thing about magpies. If you remember the last show, I have a big superstition about magpies, really crackers. And I would love 2 taxidermied magpies to sit either side on top of my altar. My husband will not allow it. He cannot stand that sort of thing in the house. But I do not personally condone taxidermy where the animal has been purposely killed just for our pleasure, so to speak. If the animal's been found, it's already passed. I don't see a problem with it personally. I think it would be great use in bringing in another form of element to the altar or to your practice, as long as it's treated respectfully, not disrespectfully. I don't see a problem with it at all personally.
A lot of people associate taxidermy with necromancy as well, so that's why it has such a stigma around it.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I don't deal with anything to do with necromancy,
No.
or bring him back the deceased, shall we say? Okay, so any other questions that we've missed before?
No, just Wandering Willow says she's going to sneak you one.
That's fine. Okay, so quick one, Book of Shadows. So this is my Book of Shadows.
Cool.
This is my fourth Book of Shadows, third Book of Shadows. I can't remember. I've been through a few. This one's taken a wee while to fill up because it's big. But this one I plan to obviously pass down. If my son goes into the craft, then he will have this. If no one wants it, it'll be buried with me, and I'll take it on to the next life and haunt the rest of the buggers. So hold on, let me just move this. Some things I won't show, obviously, but this is basically a Book of Shadows. So we have things falling out of it. So a lot of people ask what's the difference between a Book of Shadows and a grimoire. So generally, a grimoire is where you put all your spells, anything, the rituals that you've done, and your Book of Shadows is more like a diary of your magic workings. This day and age, a lot of people just use the Book of Shadows for both, to do both. I personally use mine for both. Some people will turn it upside down, flip it back to front, and then on the back would be any dream work, dream diaries, manifestation diaries. So eventually they meet in the middle and it's a completed Book of Shadows.
Yeah.
But in this, you put everything to do with your Sabbath. I don't even know if you can see. Everything to do with your workings, spells that you've done, the elements, tarot. I'll try it this way. Places that I've been, candle magic, crystal magic, witch bottles, which I think we did this camera malarkey, but yeah, witch bottles and a bit about them and stuff like that. So you can fill it with how you want to fill it. But the Book of Shadows generally got its name because it was kept when people back a long time ago, 1600s time, people weren't allowed to practice their craft publicly. It was a death sentence if they were found. Yeah. So their books were kept in the shadows, and that's where it comes from. That one, that's mine.
Just quick, Kate had a question. I forgot to forgive her. She said, "Can you blow out birthday candles though on the cake, or is it bad luck? Maybe partly because you get everyone's spit and germs on the cake."
I know. When it was COVID time, everyone was a bit panicky when it comes to blowing candles out over the cake. Yeah. They were thinking, just waft it, it'll be fine. And just waft it, it'll be fine. No, blowing out birthday candles in a cake. If I remember correctly, it wasn't traditionally blown out and making the wish. That's more of a newer age type thing, was blowing the candles out to make a wish. Going back, predominantly, it was a candle for every year of your life plus one extra for the year ahead to bring a healthy year. And there was a superstition that blowing the candles out would sort of eradicate a life, almost bring negativity to the life. So it was generally like swiped out or wafted out in one. And apparently the more the candles that were blown in one waft, the better chance of your next year being healthy and fruitful and harmonious and all that stuff. That's the theory, that's the story behind it.
Right.
But yes, that's about it. Is there any other questions anybody wants to ask?
No, I haven't seen any more pop up. But I mean, it's every time I watch the show, I learn more and more about it. Because I grew up around Wiccanry. My mum's a Wicca, my auntie's a Wicca. My auntie's crazy. Like I'm talking about, she's got like 3 broomsticks hanging on the wall in the hallway as you're walking. Like she's like proper crazy Wicca. So it's like, and you know when you grow up and you just accept these things, just like she's unique in her own little way. But when you start learning about it, it's crazy how it's all the pagan sort of religions that they all sort of mold into one. Yeah.
I have a broomstick. I made, or besom. I made with the help of my husband. We made ours, and it sits in our porch. And we have so many comments from delivery drivers and takeaway drivers, and you forgot to put your Halloween decorations away. You know, it's But when they say like the reason the broomstick is there, obviously it is to ward off evil, but also the story was if the broomstick fell over, it means you've got an unwanted visitor about to arrive.
Yeah.
But everything has a purpose in magic. Everything in my house that's to do with the witchcraft has a purpose as to why it's there and why it's in a certain part of the house. It isn't there for aesthetic at all.
Kate, so do you let your son blow out the candles on your cake, or do you off them? Only because it says it's my daughter's birthday soon, so I'd like positive energy.
Remember when I said the main thing about magic is its intention. If you said it was your daughter, yeah, your daughter. If your daughter is young and they want to blow the candles out on the cake, that is absolutely fine. Nothing bad is going to happen because you've blown the candles out on your cake. My son is 12. He's starting to want to learn more about the craft, so I'm starting to introduce little bits to him. But until he's of an age to fully understand why I've said to him to do it this way, and I'm not going to say you must do it this way, that's just an option. That's what I will give him as an option. But no, you'll be absolutely fine. See it this way: if you've been blowing out candles all your life to this point and you've managed to get this far, the rest of it's going to be fine if you continue to do it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Intention is a massive part of magic. I mean, if you look at the teachers, John Dee and all the Enochian guys that practice this angelic magic, it was all about the intention put in is the intention you get out. Yeah,
that's it, exactly. And that comes back to the Wiccan threefold law again. Obviously, the Wiccans believe what you give out, you'll get back 3 times. And magic, and like I said, all of this stuff behind me, although it is useful and amplifies our inner magic, it is just tools. Without me, without my essence, they'll just be sat there doing nothing. It's our own energy that brings the magic into magic. Our intention creates the magic. Without that, those are just tools sat on a dresser, you know. So
exactly. Oh, I agree.
But yeah, if there's no other questions, I will bid you all farewell.
Can I just add as well? Friday's show, I'm doing something a little bit different that I've never done. I'm trying a 3-fold live psychic experiment.
Hey, well.
Yeah, it's going to question people a lot. I'm trying something that I've done before live, live is with an audience, but I'm going to try it online. So I'm looking forward to that one. So it's going to be quite.
That'll be good. I'll be tuned into that. That's this Friday.
Yeah, I'll be going live at 7.
Brilliant, fantastic. Yeah, even Donna's put interest in. We'll be looking forward to that one. There is just one question.
Yeah.
Von's put, Scarlett, have you made any mistakes with your magic? Now, I want to word it very carefully. I haven't made mistakes in my magic. Whenever I'm teaching anybody magic, you have to be very careful with your wording. Magic is very matter of fact. If you get your wording wrong, you have to be very, very careful how you word things. Whenever I'm asking for something, for example, if I'm asking for financial abundance or anything like that, at the end of it, I will always say, with no harm to come to anyone in the process. There has been times where people have asked for money, they've asked for financial abundance, they've done their magic, however, then a parent has passed and they've gained inheritance, or they've had a car accident and they've gained compensation. So you have to be very, very specific on how you word your magic. That being said, whenever I've done magic, if I have said anything in error, that is just what's happened. I've dealt with the consequences. We move forward, and it's a learning curve. But yeah, I hope that answers that question. Everything happens for a reason. That's what I always say.
Into a toad, no?
Say again?
You never turned anybody into a toad or a frog or anything like that, no?
I've turned people into crackers, like nut jobs. You know, I've turned people into completely insane doolally people. Never turned anyone to a frog yet.
That's what I wanted to ask you. I have this fascination, right? I have this ongoing argument with a Wiccan friend of mine who has got this thing about freezing people.
Freeze spells.
Yeah, right. So you put the name on a bit of paper, you put them in a freezer, and they freeze them out. I don't think it works, right? I think but I think it's one of them things where it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not questioning whether people
Yeah.
believe.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more the symbolism of it. So a lot of the magic that's done within Wiccan it's all to do with symbolism, is it? Like, for instance, I know there's a ritual within Wiccanry where you write your intentions on a bit of paper, or you write the things you want to get rid of on a bit of paper, and you burn it, and it's the symbol of getting rid of that. So it's a lot of like Wiccan magic. Is it all to do with like the symbolism behind what you're doing?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But when it comes to freezer spells, I do like freezer spells. I always do recommend freezer spells. But again, you have to be very, very careful. You have to be very direct and specific of who you're trying to freeze. Make sure there's nobody that gets tied up in the process of doing that. I was saying I've seen a lot online with cord cutting, and it has been done again with the new age incorrectly. Now, going way back, traditional cord cutting is 2 candles either side, cord across the middle, any cord, whatever, and you physically cut the cord. Then you burn down 2 candles. When you have the 2 candles tied and you burn them down, that is actually a form of divination. It is not a cord cutting.
Oh, okay.
Fun fact, yeah. Its original roots is you actually physically cut the cord and then you burn them down to complete the spell. But the other way is we can tie them together, burn them down, and that will be either what's going to happen or what is currently happening, and what would happen if you do the cord cutting spell. That's more of a divination than an actual cord cutting. But yeah, with freezer, everything is a symbol. We use everything to symbolize the magic.
Nick's just put up, he said, I co-host a few paranormal shows on a few different networks where we'll have to have you guys on as guests sometime. It'd be great. I've heard of Nick as well. When his name pops up, I'm like, I know that name. Joe, you know somebody. Because when you're in that circle for a long time, you sort of know somebody. So, yeah, I mean, I would have Scarlett on a show any time. She's like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Wiccan. I learn things from her that I very much for like 12 years. So, you can't beat first-hand knowledge. You can't.
Thank you. And I don't tend to follow the new age Wicca. I don't follow the Gardnerian Wicca at all, although I did explain about it, obviously, to give the knowledge to people if they choose to. I follow the old, the going way back, the original forms of magic that were around in the pre-pagan times. But yeah.
I've been told off by Wandering Willow as well. She says it does work, Damon. Okay. I'm not going to argue.
The thing is, it's again about intention. If you go into magic and you do a spell thinking, I don't think this is going to work, chances are it won't work. If you go into spell thinking full faith, thinking this is going to work, I have the power in me to make this work, it will work.
Manifest self-importance, yeah.
Yes. The other thing with manifestations, people don't realise, they go from people will go, I really want a new car, or I really want a new house, or I really want lots of money. That isn't how manifestation works. Manifestation, you have to align your mentality with the universe. So the universe doesn't know what you want. It aligns with your vibrations. So when manifestation works, you have to see yourself already in that new job, already in the new car, already with lots of money. If you come from somewhere saying, I want more money, it's already coming from somewhere of a place where you are lacking of money. It's a negative frame of mind. So it won't come to you. A lot of these people who seem to do well are the cocky, arrogant ones who think they've got everything. And you always think, why is it they do so well? And those who are humble and don't seem to ever gain anything. And that's how manifestation works. You have to see yourself already with it or in it, and it will align with you.
Right, so I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes to seeing myself winning the lottery. So
the lottery's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's because I don't really talk about it much on the show because we sort of stay away from the curse of Crowley. But Wiccanry,
Mr. Crowley.
Yeah, but a lot of Wiccanry is based around Crowley, and he talks about manifestation. You have to be sort of self-aware to produce a manifestation. So like you said, for instance, the cocky people that have got everything, they're already self-aware of where they're going to be. So these manifestations reveal themselves. But like Carl Jung, he always states that, you know, self-manifestation is based within your own subconscious. So like you said, you have to be in that frame of mind. You have to be confident enough to know that what you're manifesting is something that you truly want before it happens itself.
Yeah. And it's believing that you're worthy of it as well.
Yeah.
It's thinking that if you're coming from a place of mind where you're thinking, I don't really deserve this, it's not going to align with you and it's not going to manifest. Jeanette put on there with you, Damon, lotto win. So if you two disappear from the other dimension in the next week, it's because you've both won the lottery and you're sunning it up somewhere in there.
I could sit here for hours. Like, this is the way my luck goes. I could sit here for hours manifesting a lottery win and I'd probably only win a tenner.
But it's still a tenner you didn't have.
Yeah. I think being humble within yourself and knowing your place and knowing that
exactly
you're giving into the world is enough, is more manifestation for anybody. You know, aiming too high, aiming to be a multi-millionaire or the first person to go into space and these sort of things. These manifestations are, you're going into the realms of like this dark magic, and where you're going to have to give a part of yourself to get that. And me personally would never want to put myself in that scenario.
No, exactly. And it is being grateful for what you already have. A lot of people forget that if you've got a roof over your head, food in your fridge, you know, warmth around you, you're a lot more blessed than a lot of people on this planet. But, you know, everybody says that if I just win $1 million, I'll be happy. But no, you won't. You'll want more after that. And then you'll want more. And it's a vicious cycle. But humility definitely is... my sister put, I'm moving into my Cornwall mansion later this month. How exciting.
Someone's been doing some manifestation, haven't they?
That's but yeah. It's if that's all the questions, thank you all for joining me on the little show today. Thank you, Damon, for joining. I hope you've all learned something. If you want to watch this back and go through the ritual either tomorrow night is to do it, it's absolutely fine. I hope you have a fantastic bank holiday weekend. Don't forget Damon's show Friday. What he mentioned earlier sounds fantastic, so don't miss that. That would be a really good one. And when is Ben and Lou doing? Did I see Sunday they're coming?
I think they're live on Sunday. So Friday I'll be doing a triple threat. So it'll be a ongoing psychic experiment where you don't have to be medium, you don't have to be psychic to do it. It'd be great to have people on. It's a threefold experiment. So I'll give out the first part of the experiment, and then the two other parts of the experiment will fold out on the end because they all sort of run into line. So something that I've done to a live audience that I want to try online. And I think Ben and Lou are back on Sunday going through their book. And obviously they'll be talking about the holiday and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll definitely be something to watch.
That would be good. Fantastic. But yes, if you're re-watching, thank you for watching. If you're watching with us live, thank you. Have a great bank holiday weekend, guys.
Take care.
Take care.